Today's guest is Brandon Minga of Minga Dime, also with House of RAD.
We all work so hard to get what's called, quote unquote success, right?
Yeah.
That we don't want to share it. But now I think you can see it around just in the industry that there's way more openness for collaboration and we can all do bigger things if we collaborate together. We started with 1,000 square feet, 4 members that kind of joined over time. There's printmaking, there's ceramics, there's screen printing, sculpting. So now we're at 60, 63, and yeah, man, we're excited for the future.
Step into the future of manufacturing at FabTech, North America's largest event for metal forming, fabricating, welding, and finishing. Get hands-on with cutting-edge technology, connect with industry trailblazers, and find solutions that drive innovation and efficiency. From the shop floor to the C-suite, FabTech brings the entire manufacturing world together. Learn more and register today at fabtechexpo.com. And now, back to the episode.
Hello, welcome to this episode of the Fabricator Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Dan Davis from The Fabricator, and my co-host is
Lincoln Bruner with the TPJ and Fabricator and anything else you want.
a lot of other things.
Anything else you want.
Yes. Today's guest is Brandon Minga of Minga Dime, also with House of RAD, which stands for Resident Artists Doers. He's involved in many things, and those are the two big headliners.
Yeah, crazy trajectory of like a career.
Yeah, he kind
of
of
a pinball pattern.
Yeah.
As non-traditional of a career in metalworking as you can get.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit, and part of that is metal sculpture as well, and came to it later in life, and he's done some really impressive installations, some of which we'll talk about. One of which is this, I forget the name of it, but it's a jellyfish.
This is just jellyfish.
Supposed to replicate jellyfish that's in place in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And not only is it a sculpture, but it's also involving LED lights.
Salve-Jelly. It's constructed of mixed recycled items, 25% steel, reused from another sculpture, and then plastic bottles.
It's got like 100 vitamin water bottles on it or something like that.
Just a ton of plastic water bottles that illuminate with, just a lighting system that they have running through it.
Yeah.
And that particular project kind of exemplifies his whole MO, which is including a bunch of people on things that from different disciplines, different walks of life. And he said, that he'll talk about just how challenging it was from that aspect, but also the things that they were required to do in balancing it. And yeah, it's that was a nice little window into his world and his mind. I liked it.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's been in place for 3 years, and now he says he's starting to get some recognition for it. Yeah. So some of this stuff is a slow build.
Yeah, he said people in Green Bay are actually starting to mention it.
Well,
there's a lot going on in Green Bay. It's hard to kind of pay attention to things.
Well, the sculpture is situated in between 2 buildings too, so it's easy to miss if you're just walking right by. And he makes a good point that the bigger the sculpture, sometimes you just kind of tune it out while you're walking by. But
so I think you'll enjoy this conversation with Brandon Minga, and thanks for tuning in.
It's time to tee up for a great cause. Come play the championship course at Bolingbrook Golf Club in Illinois on Monday, August 25th. Every drive, putt, and birdie helps support Spark Force's manufacturing camps and scholarship programs, empowering the next generation workforce. Sign up today at sparkforcefoundation.com and help shape the future of manufacturing. And now, back to the episode.
Hello, welcome back to the Fabricator Podcast. Joined today by Brandon Minga. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Thank you.
Brandon's involved with Minga, which, how would you describe that?
That's my own independent practice.
And it's a consultancy, ad creative, kind of do a little bit of everything, right?
A little bit of everything. So branding, logos, murals, sculptures. And
Yeah.
so right now, graphics and sculpture are the two main things that I do with Minga.
Yeah.
And then I started what's called House of RAD.
Right.
So House of Resident Artist Doers. And it's only 5 years old, and we will have moved 4 times.
Wow.
And you just finished the purchase of a brand new building, or not a
Yep.
brand new building, but a new location for your
Yep,
job.
a new to me historic building, and we're going from 24,000 square feet to 67,000. So exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Yeah. So I don't know if we mentioned this Milwaukee area we're talking about. How does your time break down between all these endeavors?
I try to have balance, but it's usually all over the place. It's never a dull moment, and it actually kind of pushes all the right buttons, right? So like, I'm never doing the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, we were working on big projects, but that'll shift from sitting back at my desk designing or coming back out and solving like a renter's problem, like an artist has a thing, or there's another leak, for example, in our current spot.
Yeah.
So got a lot of water features.
Features. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Well, that's always experience you can turn into other projects. So this is a little bit unusual for us because we usually have metal fabricators who find art kind of after learning their skills. Was that the same way for you? Because I know you actually have a degree in fine art, correct?
Yeah, I started out as an illustrator.
Okay.
So that was my major, and then I had almost a minor in graphic design.
Wow.
So something to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
And then, I ended up in screen printing, so illustration for screen printing, and that was a licensee of Anheuser-Busch. So that's how I cut my teeth on branding and understanding
Oh, wow.
hierarchy and things like that. And then,
It was a connection to Anheuser-Busch and you're Milwaukee.
yeah, right.
That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And then ended up from there going independent for the first time, and then tried to start 5 companies at the same time. I wouldn't advise that.
Can we ask why you decided to do that?
ADHD,
Yeah.
just straight up.
Well, it was a motivator.
And I was pretty angry that I got let go from that company. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do all that you do.
Oh. Well, in a way, you're kind of doing that now, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how the Minga started. I had
Yeah.
a company called the Laser Beaver, and that's because the one guy at that company used my art to start his brand within the company and run it as his own. So I thought, what better antithesis to lumberjacks than a laser beaver?
That's it. I'm actually thinking how that might work as an actual job shop name.
I want to see a laser beaver in
Yeah,
action.
if that brand's still available when I inevitably get asked to leave here, maybe we have something to work on.
I mean, I already got the logo design and everything. It's
I'm
got legs.
down
It's
for it.
got legs.
I don't think I've ever been excited about a name for a business like Laser Beaver.
He's got
Just now.
67,000 square feet available to you as well. So you can-
Unrelated. Did you? I know I've told you about. Did you ever see that movie Thousands of Beavers?
Yeah,
Yes. So you know totally what I'm
yeah.
talking
I made
about.
props for it.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's
No
awesome.
So
way.
those giant shoes he's running with, like the bear traps.
Yeah.
Those I made those, and then Andre made.
That's great.
We call it Beaver Jesus. He made a cross with Jesus on it, carved out of wood.
Oh, geez, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Dan's in heaven right now. That's his favorite.
What? This
He's
is
been
like
talking about
instant-
that movie for
So
like
look,
a year.
I don't impress my kids much, but now like it's a 1 degree of separation from hundreds of thousands? Thousands of
yeah.
beavers. So now I would
Yeah.
wow,
So like it's half and half of that crew is like Milwaukee-based.
no kidding.
I
Yeah.
think that would make a good name for a beer too. Thousands of beavers.
I'm sure
Mhm.
there's probably some
Great
local
logo.
local craft brewer probably considering it.
So what's the background of that? How'd you get involved?
We get asked. Well, I've been in a couple different productions and built props before.
Yeah.
And then Milwaukee, right? Like they reached out and contacted me in regards to like building props. So I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, and this thing was like totally DIY, but like such a unique look to it. It doesn't look.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very more artistic than you would say like frugal, if
Right,
you will. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they did some shoots out in the parking lot with those big timbers. it was crazy.
Oh, it's a crazy movie.
Yeah.
It does Wisconsin proud and Milwaukee proud.
It's my next watch.
Anywho, geez, how did we get
I think
Laser
his-
Beaver? That's how we
That
got
laser
there.
beaver. That,
His
yeah.
ADHD
What were
is
some of your other
rubbing off on
companies
you.
at that moment?
Mingatron, which I still have.
These are great names.
So Mingatron is a domain and registrar resellers account.
Okay.
So it's GoDaddy, but it's
Oh,
a
I got you.
reseller's account. So I
got you.
thought in my brightness that I was going to take my clients who were asking for web design and do this residual income idea of where I would get them, I'd offer them free hosting and domain for the first year, and then they'd get wrapped up into the renewals.
Right.
I mean, it works kind of. I
Mhm.
don't like make it really any money with it, but I keep it because I can get a discount for people.
Oh, okay.
So now I just use it like that, and you get the discount for myself. yeah.
Wow. So I mean, all this activity was not wasted. It's kind of still
No,
kind of
yeah.
being used somewhat.
Yeah, I had all these skills. Like I could code, I could write action scripts. Wow, haven't said that in a while. JavaScript, and so I'm like doing websites, doing the t-shirts and the branding, and that was all part of it. Like you'd get a logo and a website and apparel and all that because
Yeah.
I could separate for screen printing, and then I ended up, long story long, I ended up at Kohl's Corporate as an art director of in-store marketing. And that's where two things happened. One, I learned the art of the pitch, right? Like
Right.
going into a room daily and presenting my concepts to leadership, right? So like the client.
Right.
So once I figured that out and entered into like visualizing stuff for the client, and then it's like 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like once you can show someone your idea and then talk about it and explain it, tweak it for them,
Right. This goes under the premise of like there's no such thing as bad experience. Like you took
guaranteed.
something that yeah, I mean I imagine corporate was probably but although you're in creative, so there's a little bit of outlet, but I
Mhm.
mean you're working with a lot of people that are probably haven't seen thousands of beavers yet.
Actually, it is hundreds of beavers.
Oh, it is hundreds of beavers.
It seemed like thousands when
Yeah.
you're watching it.
That's the pre or the sequel.
The sequel.
Yeah.
You have
Or
to see it
prequel.
twice to see thousands.
They actually there's a plane in there, so they might be able. There's a spaceship. They might actually be able to break Earth orbit. Anyway,
We're gonna keep coming back to this.
Yeah.
it really, dude. If you watch it, you will come back to it. I'm glad it came back because I hadn't talked about it in about 6 months. So you're going through this, but yet you're learning something from
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I was a pretty angry young person, but that was, I suppose, misdiagnosed anxiety.
Yeah.
So like I would try, because like you can create your own misery, right? Like you can just be a part of the problem, or
we did
you
it
can,
all the time around here.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
You know what I
I
mean?
think-
Like-
yeah. What part of this is your contribution to it? Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
speaking gospel.
But I figured like there's got to be some good. It's like the only saving grace or the only reason that I put up with that stuff for so long, right? Like a toxic environment, toxic boss, whatever. But man, like I've learned a ton of stuff, and that was always the silver lining, right?
Yeah.
So, and I got really good at Photoshop, like
Right.
really fast. I went from doing like one design every day and a half to doing 8 on average for apparel or hard goods, and running the presses at like doing press checks at the print facility.
So I'm very curious about how you decided to then take all these artists kind of under your wing, as it were, in RAD,
Mhm.
because now you've got a lot of voices, a lot of minds working in one space. How does that help you as an artist and as a creator do what you do?
I mean, I'm continually inspired every day when I walk in. People are doing very different things. There's printmaking, there's ceramics, there's screen printing, sculpting, but not just like metal. There's clay sculpting. People are painting. What else? So we have a laser mask, a leather laser cut mask maker, and she's like balling because she's in like all the Ren fairs like
Oh, yeah.
across the Midwest,
Oh yeah.
just crushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, and these are like $400 masks.
She's actually using a laser to cut these
Yep.
things out.
I wore one to Burning Man. It was amazing.
Oh, now we have to hear more about Burning Man.
Oh,
Later.
you will.
We-
It's
Yeah.
inevitable. It's
Yeah.
inevitable
I
that
don't
I'm
know
going to
anything.
talk about Burning Man.
We will ask because I have a question about like something he worked on related to that. We were talking before we went live. But how do you get involved with Project Rad? What was the kind of the inspiration for that?
So after Kohl's, I quit and went completely independent, was lost for about 3 months, found my footing, and ended up at the Plaid Tuba with Reginald Baylor. And that was like my first out-of-home studio experience. But man, it made it such a difference. There's just way more focus. I worked harder and just stronger out of the house. And then from there, I outgrew that spot as soon as I got to experience welding at Flux Design. So Jeremy taught me how to weld, and then that was over. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I've always wanted to go dimensional with my work. I've got a professor at Maya that was very inspirational to me.
That's Milwaukee Institute of Art.
Yes. Tom Knopfsinger, and he did mixed media assemblage collage. So the assemblage is the 3D part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not fully sculpture because it's like low. Well, it is. It's wall-mounted low relief sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Flex Design was another artist space, or
So Flux Design
Flux.
was a design build company that basically changed the face of Milwaukee's bar scene. So the two founders, Jesse Meyer and Jeremy Shamrockowitz, both wanted to make movie sets because they love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right. So they were inspired by that. And that's what drove them to create these just fantastic environments. So like some of the remaining businesses are like Vagabond. They took 2 Airstreams, gutted them, cleaned them up, and now that's where they serve you drinks from.
Yeah.
And tacos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think what else, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah. How long were you with him?
I was there 6 years.
No kidding. So
Yeah.
that's legit fab work. I mean,
Yeah,
you're-
I mean, in the best part about that situation is that I was not an employee,
oh wow.
so I just got to absorb all the things around me.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeremy provided a desk space. And then access to the shop and tools as long as I put them away, or I ask for stuff, right? I spend a lot of my time in the scrap bin
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I liked all the
gotcha.
cutoffs.
So literally, it's kind of an incubator in a way.
Yeah. And so to go full circle here, someone there asked a question one day, like, why don't artists collaborate more often? And I was just like perplexed. And I'm like, it took me like 2 years to figure this out, like to come up with this idea. And it's like, we all work so hard to get what's called, quote unquote success, right?
Yeah.
That we don't want to share it. But now I think you can see it around just in the industry that there's way more openness for collaboration and we can all do bigger things if we collaborate together, right? So the really driving factor is then, I think my second year at Flux, Jeremy took me to Burning Man.
No kidding.
And
We did
here-
come
So
back
here
to
we
it.
go.
Here we go. It was life-changing. I mean,
What year was this? Sorry,
this was 2016.
2016.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I went 2016, 2017 when I returned the favor and brought Jeremy to Burning Man.
Ah.
Yeah, so I was running low on cash in 2016, and then he was, same thing, and so I took him. I've been back since the mud year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
amazing.
No kidding.
Yeah,
What made it amazing? I mean, to tell us about this. 'Cause
I think it's funny because watching all the California babies freak out that there was
Yeah.
like 6 inches of snow. You're like, get out
Right.
of here.
Right.
Get out of here.
Right.
So that was like 2 years ago. The mud year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because we had a someone we featured in some of our articles and podcasts, Luis Varela Rico. He's a fabricator artist based out of Vegas.
Okay.
He did a piece out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a bucket list is to bring artwork out to.
I was about
Burning
to
Man.
say, yeah. So
Yeah.
just the experience of being there, but yet noticing what others are doing.
Yeah, and just like the size and complexity of the pieces and like transporting it, and
oh yeah.
these people just were thinking less and doing more.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's it. I'm like, and the generosity and the giving society of gifting, you can just like walk into a camp if you're exhausted and they'll feed you and give you water or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not worried about it.
Yeah.
And so it was just, that's for me where it was life-changing, because then I came back and I'm like, okay, so Jeremy has afforded me a studio that I don't pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to pay for things. So one year the internet was shit. So I was just like, we got to get this fixed, dude. So I championed that and brought in, you know, the, what do they call it? The Ubiquity UFOs or whatever. So a mesh network.
Yeah.
And so I paid for all that because I'm just like, I felt in debt, you know.
Right.
Then that's what really, those two things, that experience at Burning Man and that culture, and then having that space with Jeremy was like what really teed up the House of RAD.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about how this experience of being, I guess, an entrepreneur, but also a creator, how does that kind of set the tone for what you actually produce? In other words, I mean, how does this, I mean, call it pressure. How does this drive that you put on yourself kind of influence what actually comes out
Right.
of your work?
Yeah. I mean, pressure makes diamonds, right?
Yeah.
Or it bursts pipes, one or the other.
Both.
Yeah. I mean, really, you have to make the sale in order to make what you want. You know, so like I usually give the client what they want, but I also offer up like my solution.
Yeah.
And then one that's in the middle. And then we go from there. And now essentially the projects that have come my way are like, well, you just do what you want to do. And I'm like, okay, well, can I have a little direction? Like, can you give me something?
So, yeah,
Because then it's like writer's block. Because you're like, oh, I could do this and that, and we could make it big. We put water in it. We could, you know.
Right. Yeah, well, you don't want to get to the end of what you think is awesome, and they say, nah, that's not what we want. Like,
Yeah.
oh, geez.
Yeah. We usually start with a drawing.
Yeah.
I don't just start doing, 22-foot wide glasses for.
Yeah.
Start small. So, looking at the website, one of the projects from RAD that jumped out to me was the beer line work. And is that a good example of kind of everybody kind of coming together and contributing?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you describe that a little bit for
We worked with
our
Danny
audience?
from the Artificiary, and he's with the House of RAD. He's got his space. So he's got lasers and 3D printers and a CNC. So I gave him the size I needed. He CNC'd a template for me to plasma cut with.
Oh, wow.
So we made the beer line signage
Mm-hmm.
using that template and introducing him in the process. And then
You like hand plasma cut that, right?
Yep.
Using
Yep.
that template. Yeah, it's in the video.
it's way smoother
Yeah.
to have a template or something
Yeah.
to trace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we cut once? No, measure twice. I can't even say it.
Measure twice, cut once.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, and then in that project, there was Steven. So he's the bearded gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
He is typically a photo videographer, but was like, hey, man, I'm kind of handy. I'm interested in learning, and it seems like you guys need some help because this is a big project. And I'm like, yeah, let's give it a shot, dude. And I'm gonna show you tools, and I'm gonna talk to you like you know nothing. So just deal with that. But I want to make sure that we're safe. You don't get your beard caught in a drill. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've seen that happen.
Oh, geez,
Has
man.
that been a personal experience? Or?
Well, for my dad's friend, it was.
Oh, good.
They were working on a deer stand, as you would know. And he came back with half a beard.
Oh.
Oh.
And he had to play Santa that year. So he's got this big white beard. He's got half a Santa beard.
It's half Chris. Sit on this side of my lap. Yes.
Angry reindeer that year.
Yeah.
That installation is kind of interesting because you're tied into your neighborhood with some of this work, and to me this is a great example of establishing like this little space for gathering, a plaza. I think that's probably a way to call it.
Beer Line Plaza.
Yeah, in the middle of a neighborhood where y'all have placed a kind of performance stage made out of a former what am I trying to say? Cargo
Shipping container.
container. Yeah, and it looks great. People seem to love it. I mean,
yeah, we keep getting asked for these shipping containers. They're not like super easy to work with. They're super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And the material, how thick is how thick are the walls?
I mean, those are easily like 14 gauge.
Oh wow.
So they're thick.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Are you the kind of artist that likes to just jump in, or do you like to have a plan of where you're going before you go in, or are you just kind of going in and saying, okay, this is all brand new, let's just have at it?
Well, we used to do more jumping in, and now we figured out that it's actually beneficial to do a little pre-planning.
Yes.
It helps with the process and for less errors, like
Yeah.
so figuring out how we're going to cut a 42-foot shipping container in half and then cut it in half again because they wanted to reuse this specific container. Just plasma cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like weld on some flat stock and follow that line, and then watch it just like boom,
Yeah.
come apart.
So has it gotten to the point where you really enjoy the metalworking aspect of things?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I love the way it smells. And it's just badass, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
come
So
on.
like two things that I wanted to talk about, and this one also has to do with House of Rad, but it's you obviously you're working elbow to elbow with these other artists and literally are working on like a traditional 2-dimensional canvas.
Mhm.
And one of the projects House of Rad worked on was just banging out these frames.
Oh
These
yeah.
metal frames, and I don't know where the installation was. I forget now. but-
River West Apartments.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like that stuff's just all over. So I mean, it's not only art itself, but it's kind of supporting others' art.
Yeah, so that was we definitely call that a House of Rad project because we curated the artists that were from within House of Rad as well as the submissions that came in from the local community.
Mm-hmm.
And then we built frames, and then what we did is made sure that, so with my design background, I made sure that we could print that they had the highest res file possible,
Yeah.
so the highest quality. So just making sure that the artists are represented in the best way possible
Mhm.
is really the thing. And that's like, that's, to me, that's super gratifying
Yeah.
to be able to do that with all the knowledge that I have, and then to introduce them to a new process and help them understand,
Right.
like why we can't use those images that you have.
Mhm.
We need higher res files.
Is there that kind of learning from each other in House
Yeah.
of Rad? I mean,
Oh yeah,
that type of
every day.
Yeah.
Yep, daily.
Well, that's got to be kind of cool.
Yeah. We're always saying two brains. We walk
Yeah.
around and we're like banging our head on the wall about something, and you talk to the printmaker,
Yeah.
and then he tells you something, and we're like, oh, right, okay.
Yes. Those little epiphanies
Right.
day to day.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a weird question. Does House of Rad have regular business hours?
No, no.
Did you expect another
Does
answer?
one, can one show up at 7:30 expecting to be a 7:30 crowd at House of Rad?
Well, AM or PM?
Oh, AM. I was
AM,
thinking.
ghost town.
Okay, all right.
PM, plenty of people.
All right. I just thought I was wondering whether the description of the artist would probably match my stereotype of them, but
Yeah, they do.
that's fine.
I keep
Yeah.
thinking Dan's like trying to get a space in there.
He is.
No,
He's alluded to it twice
I
now.
have no creative, like even as a writer, dude, it's all formulaic. I mean, if you read ChatGPT can mimic my style in a half second. But I love being around creative people. They're fun people to hang out with.
Well,
That's what-
speaking
I
of,
don't think we'll be roaming around there like, what's going on?
Dude, we get that more than you think.
Yeah,
we get random people just walking in off the street, and we're
I'll
like,
just keep out.
they're
Yeah.
like, what is this place? And we're like, hey, welcome to the House of Rad.
Yeah.
let me put
have
let me
beer.
put this welder down.
You
Yeah.
should call it Cats Meow Milwaukee and charge $40 a head.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I'm really curious too about how your metalworking skills have improved with being around all these other people, but also just the projects that you've had to do. I mean, how welding and plasma cutting are learned skills. And,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously you've got some experience, but I mean, how have you seen those skills improve over the years with the jobs that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, as with anything, the more you practice, the better you get. And then when you're constantly pushing the limits with a project or your next project or whatever that may be, you're consistently learning new techniques, and then also having to use the techniques that you already know in different ways. So being more precise, like when we're working with this 14 gauge steel for these glasses, there's a period where there's blow through because we don't have our settings right, and then we got to like go back, and I have to learn it and then re-instruct my team, like, this is how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
yeah. What kind of welding processes?
This one's
are you
MIG.
involved? Okay.
And then I have shittily done some TIG welding.
Right.
I'm
Once
not-
you get in practice,
I need
right?
to practice more.
Yeah.
But the piece came out amazing. It's one of my favorites. Is at the Trade Hotel,
Okay.
and
what
it's
is
like
that?
this, like it's an antler, but it's also like in a woodwitch style.
Okay.
So it's as if it's a future metallic bronze object
Mm-hmm.
that has all these like steampunk future qualities,
Right.
but it's also meant to be like existing now. And like you tripped on it in the forest taking a walk,
Right.
right? And
Yeah,
you're like, what
yeah.
is this future technology?
Yeah.
So that's when this is another one of those things when they're like, you should just do what you want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
So like I had originally proposed like a deer. We were going to do like a found object deer or something like that. And they were just kind of like, it's too on the nose for above the fireplace. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so then they were like, you just do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
That's
So I
what I
come
wanted
up-
to do.
So I come up with this sketch, and then I go back and I look through like, yes, I have Pinterest, whatever. I'm 43, get over it. I go back to my boards and I'm like, all right, I have this folder that's like things that you want to do later or something, right? And I'm looking through it and I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. And it's this really wispy, like elk looking thing that a ceramicist made a sculpture about, and I'm looking at that and all I see is the horn, and I'm like, it's not a deer, it's a deer antler, but it's like a branch. So yeah, we're doing that.
Cool. Now, did you get? I've seen elements of that steampunk style for like that piece of sculpture you made that's in Green Bay now.
Oh yeah, the jellyfish, the Salve-Jelly.
Yeah. But but also interesting enough, incorporated some LED lights into it.
Mm-hmm.
And
300 vitamin water bottles.
yeah,
as
so I mean,
the diffuser.
that's kind of a non-traditional metal artist thing, and obviously, I don't think you're just limited to metal art, but being able to kind of incorporate other things that maybe a traditional person who just welds
right.
wouldn't do it. Is that kind of where you see yourself being a little bit different from others, that your willingness to kind of pull other things in and kind of get away from a style?
Yeah, I mean, when in my illustration, my style was based around collage.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I treat everything.
Yeah.
So if I see something that is interesting, I'm like, oh, well, what if we try that? Or like, what if we add solar power and
Right.
lights, and how can we do that? And then it's like, well, what they wanted me to take up this corridor with a piece that was just interesting. And I'm like, well, what if it was a jellyfish?
Yeah.
But then everyone's like, but jellyfish don't exist in Wisconsin.
Says
I'm
who?
like,
You know what? They
Well-
tell me Bigfoot doesn't exist either. Opinions are just that, opinion.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now you've changed that. They do exist now.
they do exist. Yeah.
What's been the reception of that piece in Green Bay?
I've actually started, it's 3 years old now, and I've started to hear about people experiencing it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go downtown and you don't look, like, you'd be surprised how many times people walk past something
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
that's gigantic and they don't even see it.
Oh,
Right.
So it's been a great reception we had when we installed it. The client loved it, and yeah,
Yeah, because it's like hidden between like two buildings.
Yep.
Are you?
So that was like a commission piece.
Yes, this
Oh,
was the
wow.
largest
Well, there you go.
the largest House of RAD, or the most House of RAD artists working on one project at the same time.
Oh, no kidding.
So there's like 13 of us. So
Mhm.
lighting designers, electricians, TIG welders, myself, Jackson, he's my director of operations, my right-hand man. And yeah, that was a really fun project.
What did you find most challenging about that one in particular, beside the number of people working on it?
There was a time where there was a lot of talking about whether or not we were messing with the fulcrum. So like the point of which this thing would fall over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think we are, but I don't know that for a fact because, geometry and some other physics stuff that, I'm just an artist, right? So, but I'm looking at like other things that exist that are built and I'm just like, can we just try it? Can we
Yeah.
just do it? So then you're like, well, it was designed with straight legs. And I'm like, the legs can't be straight. That's just not how this is going to be, because that doesn't work aesthetically for me. And it looks like an afterthought. And it looks
Mhm.
like,
Mm.
it looks like a light post or something,
Right.
like it's just not,
Right.
not jellyfish. So then we started coming up with this like angular idea to give it more motion.
Mm-hmm.
And then in order to get the angles for that without having done it all in like SketchUp,
Mm-hmm.
we went out and bought PVC pipe that was just a size bigger than the pipe that we were using. And we cut the PVC and put it into shape and got it where we thought it would go. And then used the angles on the PVC to cut the tube.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
So then we put it all together and it stood.
Wow.
Anchored it right there in the studio, right in the floor, just like boom.
Oh, wow. So
Mhm.
you did actually a test anchor almost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And 3 years later,
Yep.
still kind of doing
Still
the
there.
trick.
Well, another thing that I'm wondering about yourself is what do you find most gratifying when something is done? Is it getting it done, or is it what it gives you for the next project?
I think it's the reaction from the community. Like
Okay.
when people get excited about it
Yeah.
and I'm seeing the other artists that are like celebrating the job that they did.
Okay.
Those are the super gratifying moments for me.
Mhm.
And then I find that, you know, a project or two down the road, I'm like, oh yeah, we did that on the jelly. And that's why this is this way and this is that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was nice.
You're also actively working. I mean, this is in Green Bay, but you do a lot of work in Milwaukee in your neighborhood.
Mhm.
What's that kind of mean to you as somebody who lives, works in Milwaukee?
I mean, it's always a great feeling to see your projects out in the wild, you know,
Mhm.
and they're right in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then you can hear the neighborhood talking about them, and then you win
Yeah.
a couple of mayor's design awards, and you're like, oh
Right.
yeah, all right, like people like this stuff.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a celebrity in Milwaukee?
No,
Not yet.
I mean I'm recognizable. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's just because you got the beard.
So are other
Yeah.
people finding you outside of Milwaukee now with some of this work?
Yeah, I've actually been trying to get my own commissions outside of Milwaukee and branching out because I can't, you know, I mean, there's only so much work.
Right.
But I'm working on that.
Yeah. What else would you like to work on in terms of skills, perhaps?
TIG welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to be able to customize my truck.
The one that you pulled up in?
Yeah. The rust bucket. Yeah.
What
it has
exactly
AC.
do you want to add to it?
Well,
A big giant plow like on Snowpiercer?
It's gonna be the shape of a jellyfish.
I want to add like the wide fender look,
Right.
and I also want to just trick it out.
Yeah, we should put you in connection with Josh Welton then. He's Miller related. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
he's a champ at TIG welding, right?
And he
He's
loves
talked about
Hemis.
that. What's
So
that?
maybe I can do an engine drop as well.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
No
right.
kidding.
That is the goal.
Yeah.
That is going to be my project truck. That is for sure.
There you go.
I'm going to drop that thing, put on airbags, put a Hemi in it.
Well, we should put him in touch with the guys from up at Bailey Industrial too, because they're the ones that are rolling all the different
Oh, sure.
fenders.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of hammers.
A lot
going.
of people to help a lot of people in Wisconsin when it comes to metal fab.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No kidding.
I did end up with a roller, and it's for this glasses project. Sadly enough, it's not Bailey.
Mm.
I did call them and talk to them about
Did you?
a potential brand ambassador, but
Huh.
I'm too small yet.
There you
Oh,
go.
give
But
it
you
some
did
time.
connect with Miller.
Yeah, yes, I did. Yeah. And that happened through another guy, another metal fab dude who worked at Flux Design and was like, hey, you guys got to come over to this shop. And so they brought over the guys from Miller, and we did basically some beta testing with a case for the 412, I think, multimatic, multi-process. And so we talked about like, you know, if the buttons are too smooth, you don't know when you're clicking to the next
Mhm.
setting.
Right.
Right. So that was one of the things we talked about. And then like rubber around the button, the digital screen, and like, you know, what if there's a handle in the middle and not just the two ends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And then from that point, I mean, I was rocking a Lincoln multi-process at that time. And then I was just like, so what's a guy got to do to get this brand ambassador thing going on? And he was like, well, you just ask. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, consider me asking. Like, what do I have to do? So then they send you a contract, and they're like, you got to do X, Y, and Z for social media. And
sure.
so we've been amping that up, and I've got some very nice equipment.
Have you had the opportunity to actually go out to any events or anything and
They
involved with them?
Yeah, they presented the SEMA opportunity, and I really want to go because
Mhm.
I mean my family is like a hot rod family.
Oh.
They love their cars,
Yeah.
so and it's in my blood,
Right.
and
Right.
why I'm messing around with this Dodge truck. So I do want to go, but it falls on around the same time that our biggest fundraiser of the year happens.
Oh.
So we do what's called Feed Your Soul, and we
Mhm.
get our House of RAD artists involved and local artists involved. We've had as many as 35 live artists performing at one time. And I'm happy to say that we pay our artists to be there for that time.
Wow.
So they get $275 to be there for 4 hours and create a piece of work that raises money for our previous sponsor or benefactor was Feeding America.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's Community Advocates, which actually makes way more sense for us.
Yeah.
They do more than just food. You know,
Mhm.
they're teaching taxes, legal advice, housing, all that kind of stuff. So like that just makes more sense for our mission at Feed Your Soul. So that's been going on for 22 years. We've raised over 3.1 million meals
Oh,
at
wow.
Feeding America. So
Nice.
we've done at least, well, when I got involved, we managed to increase the numbers. So there was a lot more marketing.
Mhm.
I pushed them into documenting with video and making sure to pump that out and have it on the website. So when you're selling, you know, when you're like, hey, can you give us $50,000? Would you want to be our main sponsor?
Yeah.
You struggle to tell people what this event is. They're
Right.
like, what do you mean you have fire breathers and eaters and
Yeah.
stilt walkers and people painting with their body? Like we had a contortionist one year paint with her body. It's just like, this is awesome. You know, like basically trying to get as close to Burning Man as you possibly can
In Milwaukee.
in a warehouse,
Yeah.
in a dank warehouse.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that for?
I've been there 8 years, so this will
Okay.
be my 9th.
Oh, wow.
So I took over hosting after Flux Design went under. So pandemic really, I mean, you can't do bar design when you can't go there.
Right. Yeah. Have you been pulled into that direction?
Interior?
Yeah. Like for some
yeah.
of that commercial stuff?
Yeah, I actually, as soon as I moved into Flux, I ended up landing a hospitality, a design build for a restaurant in Kenosha called Chicken and Donuts.
Okay.
So no longer exists, unfortunately. But it was
Darn
crazy.
it.
It was very crazy. It's hard to describe. It's on my website,
Yeah.
Minga, but there's like your morning breakfast area with donuts
Mm-hmm.
on one side when it's brighter and kind of circusy,
Yeah.
with like a street vibe. And then next door is the bar where there was over 100 bottles of Jameson on the wall.
Wow.
And that's the restaurant bar side.
Mhm.
And then upstairs they had a sports book. So they had like upscale. It was still like, I don't know what they call that. There's fast casual, but then there's like
Yeah.
where you can wear jean shorts and go get a slice of shark.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You wear some jorts and eat some shark.
I've been
and
needing
bet.
more of that in my
Yeah.
life. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we made the menus. So, and here's I'm using like all of my branding and design skills and then build skills, which weren't very good at that time because I hadn't built anything really.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So the sports book menu was a ledger
Okay.
Oh.
that was made in Madison at a bookmaking company.
Whoa. I mean, they really kind of embraced the creative.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
letting me do some crazy expensive stuff.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because it really, every time that I do something, I'm trying to for the experience to be authentic
Mhm.
is really what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Hence
So
the-
you designed and fabricated this entire Jameson?
I designed it. Their contracting crew did that, and then I did some beginner welds, I will say, on the railings that hold the Jameson in place.
So this was pretty early days in your metalworking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had the welder up, I don't know, 10 feet in the air on top of the ladder, and then I was on another ladder. It's not advisable.
no, you would never see that in an OSHA manual.
Yeah, the OSHA manual. Yeah, right.
One of those memes where the guy's
Yeah.
like shaking his head.
we we always joke in our shop It's safety third.
What's first and
Yeah.
second?
Fun.
Partying, and more partying, and then safety.
Sounds like an artist enclave.
So what's been like your favorite project now? I mean, you've done this for a while. Like, what stands out in your mind as something that you really are maybe proud of or had the most fun doing?
I mean, we're having a really good time on this giant pair of glasses right now.
No kidding. And where will
It's
that end up?
in the Third Ward in Catalano Square in
Okay.
front of Myed. It'll overlook Broadway. So it's an honorarium piece for a buddy of mine whose wife is commissioning it. And it's because the guy was a visionary for the Third Ward bid. He helped bring in like the market,
Mhm.
the public market.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great place.
Yeah, so it's kind of like tugging at your heartstrings, and then also just like really cool because you're inspiring the entire artist community in the House of RAD. You're like, what is that? What are you guys doing? And we're making a ton of noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got sunburn from welding. It's ridiculous. Like it's the first time I've ever had sunburn from welding because we're doing it so consistently for
Yeah.
hours on end,
Yeah.
and
So it's all aluminum then?
it's steel,
Oh,
14
wow,
gauge
okay.
steel. Yep.
Wow. So a little heft to it.
Yeah. It's still it's getting unmanageable. I will say that. Jackson's roughly about my size. Steve is tall, but he's kind of string bean, and so trying to like flip it over and stuff has been challenging.
Stuff that was
So
created out of
yeah.
a shipping container.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoy all my projects. Like I try to make an effort to only do work that I want to do and have only the work that I want to do on my website.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I'm not stuck just doing fab or, like people come be like, hey man, can you like fix my grill?
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, man, I'm not about that life, dude. That's not
It's not me.
for me.
So these glasses, what's the size, dimension?
So they're 22 feet wide by 6.5 feet tall, and the legs are 23 feet long. So they won't fit in this room.
Yeah. Right.
or most rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they fold up so you can ship them?
Mm-hmm.
No, serious.
They do actuate. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're putting a pin because we think we're going to have to set the position on site because it's on a berm. So like, we're not sure.
Oh, right. At what point are they going to tip over?
Where's the best spot, So we're going to fully assemble them in the shop and then kind of have the client come in and be amazed and then pick the position of the legs, and then we'll try to get close.
Wow.
Is there a
Yes.
date that you're trying to target to debut this?
Yeah, the mid to end August.
Okay.
So we're working on it. My boys are grinding right now.
Are you
And-
going to actually advertise a commissioning date then?
The Third Ward has already started talking about it.
Have they? Okay.
And we're going to do this really cool thing. So we worked with Lily. She's a jeweler and also like, I don't know, some kind of crazy artist engineer. She's got this big, beautiful brain and helped us with like these glasses because we were like, how are we going to build this thing? So we took his glasses. She came in with a 3D scanner,
Oh, wow.
a mobile 3D scanner, scanned them, built a model, gave us a parts list, then printed the glasses in 3D so that we could have a small model, and then printed a 1/24th scale of like the one side of the lens
Wow.
area. And then that also had individual part numbers and things on it, and we could actually get our angles from the thing. Just
Wow.
like,
The collective mind
Yep.
working together.
yep.
Wow.
But that's another great example of House of RAD people being involved and
Huh.
getting super excited about doing stuff together.
Oh, I'm
That is cool.
anxious to see that.
Is the design of that, is that like under wraps and like the unveiling of it will be the first time everyone's seen like the exact design of these glasses?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, no one, including us, has seen them set up.
Yeah.
So that's coming. I'm hoping tomorrow and today we can get them set up and put together.
My mind, for whatever reason, is going to how big are those pins for those
Yeah,
those
it's,
arms? Man, that's
At least a 3-inch OD tube that'll go in, and then we're gonna put 2 plates, and then we're gonna have all thread welded on the inside of the top plate, goes all the way through the tube. Sorry,
Okay.
and then we'll put a nut on the bottom.
Okay. Nice.
So where does House of RAD go from here?
We're gonna go over 120 artists, I think, in our new
kidding.
spot.
New spot.
So
wow.
we have 63 right now. So that's artists and members. So artists are the tenants, we'll say,
Mhm.
and then the members are folks that have access to specific areas. So a lot of this has to do with the printmaking. So you
Okay.
can come in as a member and use our screen printing lab if you're a part of AP3. And AP3, you can they have classes that'll teach you how to do this
okay.
stuff,
Wow.
and memberships. So the membership just allows you like 24/7 access, depending
Right.
on your skill level.
Do you ever think about getting into like a maker lab type thing? Or is
I
that
was
too-
at the I had a space at the maker space in Milwaukee, their Bayview location. I was there for like 3 years, and I did a project that was so big that I didn't get kicked out, but my project got kicked out. If that makes any sense.
We're not kicking you out, Brandon. We're kicking your
It's not
project.
you. It's your project. So we took 2 insulated, refrigerated shipping containers and cut panels out of it with a diamond blade saw. So 3-foot panels, and tried not to catch it on fire in the process because insulation, wouldn't you know it, burns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then use those panels as the roof and the floor between the two so that you'd have a mobile ice sculpture gallery. There are times in your life when you have a project and you have to admit failure.
Yep.
I thought you were
Been
going to
there.
sell me on the concept of a mobile ice sculpture.
No, no.
Like table.
So did this project see completion?
It saw completion in the way that Titletown's construction team took it away from me.
Took it away from
Your
you.
own project?
Was that a merciful act on their part?
It was just, I didn't have the right people with me, and it was a very small team, and it was a huge project, and the timeline was just grueling.
Mm.
And but yeah, I mean, talk about experience, and doing some wild stuff.
Failure's the best teacher.
Yeah. I don't work on insulated containers anymore.
Well, it's a useful piece of advice.
Well,
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Got anything else, Gareth?
No, we just kind of summarize it, but like, so 2020 House of RAD had what, 4 members in it?
Yeah, we started with 1,000 square feet, 4 members that kind of joined over time. And then within 9 months, I got pitched this smoking deal from the landlord so then we moved across the parking lot into the battery warehouse and the battery factory. And that's where we went to 14,000 square feet and 18 artists. Yes, that's correct.
they're in River West.
Yep. And then after another 9 months, the guy tried to double the rent. And so we were
Mhm.
like, no. And then we moved down the tunnel into 24,000 square feet. And by the time we had things sort of built over there, we had already acquired 28 artists. So they were just waiting for us. And some of them were paying rent. They were so excited.
Oh, wow.
So that was awesome. It's like a
Yeah.
little investment into our situation. So now we're at 63, and yeah, man, we're excited for the future.
You
Cool.
are.
Yeah. Well, continued success and bright things ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to have you, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Brandon. If you have any questions, complaints, criticisms, send them to podcast@fmamfg.org. And we appreciate you listening. And Gareth is looking at me like I'm forgetting to say something.
No, I'm just wondering,
But I'm going to screw up.
No.
Okay, I nailed
No,
it this
you
time,
got it all right.
fellas.
I was just trying to think of like when we're going to see these glasses.
Oh,
Oh yeah, August.
Soon, road trip. All right, catch them in Milwaukee sooner rather than later. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
The Fabricator Podcast is a production of Fabricators and Manufacturers Association, located in Elgin, Illinois. The show is hosted by Dan Davis and the staff of FMA Communications. The podcast is produced by Gareth Slager and recorded and edited by Griffin Hammond and Dana Weicker. Sales support provided by Andy Flando. Additional production support by Elizabeth Gavin, Mike Owens, Billy Culpa, Pat Simon, Brandon Geyer, and me, Sarah Spring. Email us at podcast@fmamfg.org. Thank you for listening.
Damn.